Oh, yes, I did say I would use that song for an intro, but I was just kidding. I can't play that song on YouTube. Why? First of all, copyright infringement, and the lyrics of that song will probably get me kicked off YouTube. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Production team. Okay, let's work on another song. Until then, let's let it rip. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Wrestling Gold, Wrestling Gold Friday night. I am Ronald Ray, your always confused boy with a cornbread accent. Hopefully, everybody had a good week this week. Yes, we are Friday heading to the weekend. Oh man, happy to be home. Nothing, nothing like taking a shower in your own shower, and not to say that Hampton Inn is not doesn't have a nice shower, but something about being able to use your own, especially when you got one of those detachable uh, shower heads, wash all over the place. That's not happening in the Hampton Inn, but friendly little town, not bad so far. Working with a pretty good crew, so um, it is what it is. This business as usual. We're all business out there, but speaking of business, let's get into the business of talking about good old school wrestling. Back when wrestling was wrestling. Uh, None of that fake bullshit they had in the Northeast. You know what I'm saying? None of that Yankee Vince McMahon bullshit. Uh, Nothing against it, but we show some of it. Actually, tonight our watch along will be AWA from September 8th, 1984. So some of those talents from the AWA actually went on to become WWF superstars. Of course, a lot of those territory guys and gals went on to become WWF super. I can't do a Vince McMahon impression. Um, WWF superstars. There we go. Got it all in. Speaking of work, hey, cheers to all those who worked hard this week, and cheers to all the men and women who are having to work this weekend. Feel bad, but hey, cheers, thumbs up. Let's talk some wrestling. Uh, I'll babble a little bit. Uh, let me go through the usual bullshit spiel here. Um, if you're watching this live, hey, feel free to join me in the chat, discuss anything that I talk about tonight. Share some memories of some of these events I cover, some of your favorite wrestlers from the times and stuff like that, or just simply say hello. Um, If you're not watching this live, you're watching on the replay, or whatever you want to call it, because this stays on YouTube, forever and ever till I guess I could take it off one day if I decide to quit this. But gosh, I'm having so much fun. I am. But yeah, if you're not watching this live, there is a comment section that's always open. Leave me a comment of any memories you have from the glory days of professional wrestling. Back when it was called wrestling, not wrestling. Wrestling. We talk wrestling. Actually, I need to change my logo. Wrestling Gold Friday night. Damn, that does sound fucking better. I can't think about that. A couple weeks ago, people were making fun of my accent. Said it wasn't southern enough, wasn't cornbread enough. Oh shit. Anyway, uh, I've got to, I've got to quit cussing on this. By the way, yes, I will apologize. I did drop a ton of f bombs last night on a spot show. Sorry, I kind of got. Do we want to call it my feels? It's kind of one of the things that you talk about it, you think about it, you do kind of get somewhat. Anybody with the right mind will get passionate about it. But if you want to go back watch it, go ahead. Yeah, kind of few f bombs, a GD here and there, and little politics like I don't like talking about. But yes. So anyway, so if you're again, if you're not watching live, drop a comments or just be friendly and say hello. If you are entertained and like the stuff I'm talking about, click on that thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber yet, hey, be a champ. Click on that subscribe button. All this stuff I just mentioned is greatly appreciated for real. Do appreciate everybody does go on chats. Everybody does like it. Click the like buttons. Everybody, leaves a comment. Hey, those are appreciated. Like Joe King here. Joe King, I'm here. I'm here. It's Friday. Did anybody live in Georgia or in the Atlanta area? Uh, back in the back in the 90s, late 80s, no, 90s they did it. I think Power 99 did it for a while. Then 96 Rock did theirs. Then when Power 99 went to 99X, they did theirs too. But I think 96 Rock did it a lot. Uh, the Friday 5 o'clock whistle countdown. I think it was Richard Klein and talking about it's Friday, Friday, Friday. Then they come up with all these little pop party songs and stuff like that. It was actually pretty fun at the time. Yeah, I think it was in. Yeah, I think two because one of them did a bunch of pop songs, one of them did rock songs. So they all kind of both did the same thing. But it's entertaining. Uh, but yeah, uh, did talk about wrestling and where was I at? That was I mean, I do got notes I do take, but sometimes I just ramble off. You know, call it on the screen, call it on the camera, shoot from the hip. But yeah, like I said, all that's appreciated. And now that all that BS is out of the way, see, I said BS, not bullshit. Um, let's get talking about wrestling, and of course, every Friday on Wrestling Gold Friday. That does sound about wrestling Gold Friday night. Anyway, while I was talking about the history, today is January 17th, and everything we're gonna list off here happened on this date, January 17th. Let's get rolling here. Let me find everything. Make sure I press the right buttons here. All right, let's go to it. All right, on this date in 1975, Boy, I wasn't even born yet. Wasn't even thought of at this time. Yes, on this day in 1975, Nelson Royal defeated Jerry Lawler in Knoxville, Tennessee, to earn a shot at the NWA World Champion Jack Briscoe. Uh, also on this date in 1976, still not yet born yet, but I believe I was at least thought of. I was a couple months from being born. A couple months and a few days. On this date, 1976, Jesse Ventura defeats Jimmy Superfly Snuka for the Pacific Northwest Championship. On this date in 1980, Tiger Jeet Singh defeats Connect for the UWA World Title in Mexico City, Mexico. Also on this date in 1980, in Greenville, Mississippi, Mike Sharp defeated Mike George to win the Mississippi title. Yes, Mississippi, Mississippi. Okay, Missouri. Okay, Missouri was part. The Missouri title was part of the obviously the Kansas City territory because Mississippi. What title belonged to that territory? Did that belong to the tri-state territory or Mid South territory? I think because I don't think it was obviously when the 1980 did Gulas go into Mississippi or did I think didn't tri-state hit me up in either in the chat or in the comments. Let me know where the Mississippi title, what territory that belonged to. Was it? I'm thinking it was the tri-state, um, but they also had the Louisiana championship too. They might have Mississippi. Anyway, Mike Short defeated Mike George to win that championship in 1980. Also in 1980, the Assassin wins the Central States title from the Avenger. The Avenger was the man under the hood was Reggie Parks. Reggie Parks also made a lot of the classic championship belts, uh, like the uh, like the NWA TV title. I do believe he also made the Wing Championship belt, WWF, and the WWF World Title before that. The NWA World Tag Team titles around '86. The United States Heavyweight Title, all those cool looking belts. Reggie Parks the one who uh, made those. Not sure if he made a big gold belt though. I think Nelson Royal actually made the big gold belt. I think that's what Missy or not Missy Hyatt, but Baby Doll said in her interview. Uh, was that Nelson Royal made the big gold belt. All right. On this day in excuse me, on this day in 1982, at the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, Tommy Wildfire Rich defeated a Mass Superstar to win the NWA National Title. Bob and Brad Armstrong defeated Ron Bass and the Super Destroyer. Of course, the Super Destroyer was Scott Irwin. I believe he's credited for creating the Superplex. Um, Dusty Rose defeated the Great Kabuki by disqualification. And yes, there you see a picture of the Great Kabuki spraying the mist. Like I said, that shit was just so fucking cool. Oh, excuse me. That was so freaking cool. Anyway, let's see what else. That Leroy Brown and Big Red defeated battled Ole Anderson and Buzz Sawyer to a no contest. Jimmy Garvin battled Kevin Sullivan to a double countout. Cherry Yost defeated Bill Dromo. El Gran Apollo defeated The Angel by disqualification. Ron Fuller defeated Rick Harris. Of course, Rick Harris will grow to become Black Bart. Yes, Kabuki, Japanese legend. I think he's is he, he is still alive. Because he retired, I think. This was actually a wrestling trivia Tuesday question. I think he did retire to like 2011 or something like that. Cheers. Ooh. Oh yeah, by the way, if you do hear a little fan, I do got like a little heater fan going here. Uh, it gets mighty cold in this place. All right. Also in 1982 in Toronto, Canada, with the attendance of 12,347, Angelo Moscow defeated Big John Studd to win the Canadian title. Bob Backlund defeated Greg Valentine. Johnny Weaver mastered the Weaver Lock, which is sleeper hold. Excuse me. And yes, that same Lord Alpha Hayes who became like a commentator and interviewer for the WWF. Yes, that same Lord Alpha Hayes. He was a pretty accomplished wrestler from what I hear. Of course, he wrestled way before started watching wrestling. But yeah, same Lord Alpha Hayes, and Johnny Weaver also became like a commentator for Mid Atlantic. So uh, kind of kind of interesting. Anyway, Jesse Ventura and Adrian Adonis defeated Dominic DiNucci and Tony Parisi. Of course, Dominic DiNucci was the trainer of Mick Foley, who went on to become Cactus Jack, Mankind, Do Love. Um, he also trained Shane Douglas as well. That's the only two names that pop in my head that he's famous for training. On this date in 1985, Miss Sage Beckett was born. So happy birthday to Sage Beckett. Um, on this date in 1999. WCW sold out pay per view at the Charleston, West Virginia Civic Center, drawing 10,833. I do remember this pay per view. I've seen this. Chris Benoit defeated Mike Enos. Norman Smiley defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. I do believe he was doing the little trooper gimmick. No, I don't, wait a minute. Yeah, he might have been still doing a little trooper gimmick. Fit Finley defeated Van Hammer. Van Hammer was part of the Raven. Well, I think the Raven Flock was free, but so he was kind of going solo a little bit, but kind of you know just there kind of guy. Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Wrath. Wrath was of course was Brian Clark. Lex Luger defeated Conan. Chris Jericho defeated Terry Center in a loser wears a dress match. Then he came out. What's it? The following Nitro. They did mix the music of. I guess their little house band did like a instrumental version of "Beautiful People," and he was wearing this like a kind of. If you've seen that video, he was wearing kind of like a little. I want to say girdle, but little waist thing, and and a little bit of a dress. That's what Paris Saturn started wearing. Um, and he can't. They mix the music. It's like an instrumental version of "Beautiful People," and so I do remember that match and remember him uh coming out coming out in that gimmick. WCW Cruiserweight Champion Billy Kidman defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. and Juventud Guerrero and Psychosis in a four corners match. Um, Rick and David Flair, yes, David Flair. I don't know if it's this one or yeah, I think it might have been this one. Gosh, I feel so bad. Anyway, Rick and David Flair defeated Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig. Um, so they bring Flair back, and well, not back, but he was already this. I think way before the lawsuit and all that. I've been after no, because reformed the horse. So it's a little before that. Brought David Flair in, and poor Arn Anderson. They was like, I think this is the angle. Go ahead, correct me if I'm wrong. Where uh, Dave was like, "Dad, let me be your partner. Come on, Dad. I'm ready. I'm ready to be your partner. Come on, Dad." Uh, and Rick was like, "Oh, you're not ready." Then Arn Anderson, poor, poor, poor Arn Anderson had to sit there with a straight face and everything. And go, he's ready. Uh, no. Uh, yeah. Poor David Flair. Um, put it to you this way. In case you didn't realize, David Flair didn't reach Charlotte like status in his pro wrestling career. Charlotte Flair is just on another level. I always kind of wonder what would happen if Ric Flair would have uh, not passed away and uh, became a wrestler, because there was like some high hopes for her for Reed Flair, but um, Charlotte, man, she's a and yes, I know there's a ton of Charlotte haters, but Charlotte was Charlotte is not was is really freaking good. I mean, I think she's probably about to come back from injury. I think there's rumors of maybe her and Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. So, but yeah, Charlotte Flair is good. Don't if you listen to the yeah, he achieved. Yeah, he actually did wrestle in Cornelia. But it was before we started going. I wish I kind of wish we started going when that was going on. But that drunk that beer pretty quickly, or shouldn't drink on it. Anyway, uh, but yeah, yeah, he did come to Cornelia a couple times. Didn't he like teaming with Romeo Bliss? But anyway, but yeah, poor Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig had to put him over. Uh, and in the main event, Bill Goldberg defeated Scott Hall in a taser on a ladder match. Uh, and of course, this was after the Starcade fiasco. Yes, tag team champs. So yeah, David Flair and Romeo Bliss was Wild Side tag team champs, right? Even though we didn't go, I do sort of keep. I did sort of keep up with history a little bit. Um, oh yeah. By the way, if there's yep. All right. See, ask me anything from 1983 to maybe 1998. I can fucking remember, but don't ask me what I had for breakfast this morning. Yeah, I think I do too. Somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. But yes, this was the after Starcade fiasco where Scott Hall came out, helped Kevin Nash win the uh, WCW World Title by tasering Bill Goldberg, uh, causing him not only to lose the WCW World Title, but uh, lose his undefeated streak. Uh, and yes, Bill Goldberg was freaking over. I mean, there was a back when Damala, Georgia was Damala, Georgia, still a little bit. He was there to sign autographs, and they said, man, there was like the line circling that whole building to get an autograph with Bill Goldberg. I mean, again, that's what I was kind of harping on about um, Powerhouse Hobbs. Bill Goldberg did not, obviously, did not give you 5-star matches. on Dave Meltzer's star chart. Probably not even a two-star match, but it's all about the butts and seats. And for a time there, Goldberg was pretty fucking over, and probably the one and only homegrown superstar that WCW had. I mean, I guess you can say Sting, like Luger, but Sting came from UWF. But then Crockett bought UWF, and Crockett and Dusty kind of built up Sting, same as Lex Luger. Luger came from Florida. Crockett and Dusty built him up. A member of the Horsemen, then split from the Horsemen, all that good stuff. So yeah, as far as not from the territories or anything, or from WWF or ECW or anything like that, Bill Goldberg was pretty much the one only talent that actually drew money. Powerhouse or not powerhouse, uh, power plant full of people, and the only thing it got was Bill Goldberg. I still say if Ted Turner was still on TBS and all that, along with uh, WCW, WCW would still be around. That's just my opinion. All right. And that concludes today in wrestling history. Any more beverage got chart here? Let's see. Of course, we talked about Ron Fuller, the original Tennessee. That's it. That's all the history I got today. Doesn't seem like a lot of things happened in January for wrestling history, or I need to excuse me. Let me turn this little space off. It's trying to get a little. I mean, I guess because it's blowing right on me, it's a little warm. Um, but yes. So yes. Speaking of NWA Wild, I would kind of briefly mention that that was the one and only developmental territory of WCW. They tried it out. And, it got AJ Styles and Air Paris a short contract. They were there till WCW got bought. Um, but yeah, I mean, Bill Goldberg. I mean, uh, go back. I mean, Bill Goldberg was their golden goose, and then they screwed it up. But it is what it is. Kind of deleting the notes here because I don't need them. Because it is time for our watch along here. Like I said, we're going to check out some AWA from the right date, uh, September 8th of 1984. Looks like a pretty good program here. Let me go ahead and share with you folks the link. Let's go ahead and thank. Let's go ahead and thank Wrestling Real. Of course, I'm just sharing the link, so not not copying the link, but sharing the link with the chat, so you can watch along with us as we're speaking, or if you're watching it on the replay, you can watch it through there. Uh, sure let me make sure the computer volume is down. I don't want to get in trouble here. Do that. Then I do got my tablet here, which I can't hear, but I can hear the commentary, so I can keep up with what's going on. All right, we're good. We're ready. We're ready to begin this thing. Let's go. And five, four, three, two, one. Press play now. Now, now I'm not sure if we get those good old 1984 commercials. So this is very it might be coming from this might be a 1984 showing, but man, they're showing a lot of footage from like the 1970s. Yes, I always, especially when I first started seeing AWA in like in 1986, it was almost kind of laughable for them to or to me to sit there and listen to them call themselves the Major League of Professional Wrestling when NWA Jim Crockett would call themselves the Major League of Professional Wrestling. Oh, Kurt Hennig. Let's see. Kurt Hennig is probably what about 3 years in the business at this point. I do believe. But yeah, Kurt Hennig, and about two. Remember at 234, consider a small guy, even though he's what 6'1", 6'2". And right here, it's before he turned heel, came as left AWA, became Mr. Perfect and all that. But so he was this a good old hometown white meat baby face. And of course, Kurt Hennig is a second generation wrestler. His dad was Larry the Axe Hennig, who had a very successful tag team with Handsome Harley Race. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, hello, David Johnson. Uh, yeah, I see that where they was listing all these countries. It's American Wrestling Association. I started watching wrestling AWA, or started watching the AWA when Road Warriors were tag team champions. I do believe they did announce that the Road Warriors are on this program. So, and I think, let's see, this is September '84. Um, so they're probably like a little over a year as a tag team experience because Road Warriors started in Georgia in '83, I think. And speaking of the Road Warriors, the guy who's refereeing there, uh, Eddie Sharkey, he's the one who trained the Road Warriors. Yes, Rick Martel was the world champion. If I remember correctly, I think didn't dang, I mean, I said this is Kurt Hanning's what third, maybe fourth year in wrestling, and you can tell. I mean, it's freaking smooth, real smooth in the ring. Yes, and Rick Martel was the world champion until the bad man from Borger, Borger, Texas came along. He straightened that crap out. Stan Hansen. Yeah, what's it? Yeah, 1981. Because he started the same year as Brad Armstrong. I think Brad Armstrong started like at 1980, 1980, 1981. And don't I think this is the Showboat Arena? Obviously, not sure what studio they're in. If anybody's got any knowledge of that? Does anybody remember who the Road Warriors defeated to win the AWA World Tag Team titles? You are well. Was it the Bruiser and the Crusher or the Bruiser and Baron von Raschke? Was it Dick the Bruiser and yeah, they just mentioned there was Baron von Raschke and oh look, it's the out uh what are they called? Yes, a Crusher and Baron von Raschke. Yeah, that's the Outlander's dad or one of the Outlander's dads. I don't know if I don't know if David or Joe. I know you watch AEW, but the outlet or what they call the Outlanders. Yeah, that that's one of their dads or two of their dads. The other dads are Billy and Chuck. But as far yeah, the fabulous ones don't get a lot of credit for them being. I guess because they mostly in Memphis. They did do Florida, and I mean obviously AWA. But yeah, of course, Stan Lane will actually after the fabulous ones kind of they were in Florida, if I remember story correctly. Steve Keirn started doing outside wrestling business, and they were both in Florida. But Dennis Condrey left, so they needed another Midnight Express. Yeah, that would that yeah, back when I first started watching because they called um the Memphis tag team titles the AWA Southern tag team titles. The Southern title was AWA Southern title, all that good stuff. They did kind of suck up the duelist championships like the international and the Mid American championship. This must be a house show match between Jumpin' Jim Brunzell and superstar Billy Graham when he was doing the karate thing. Yeah, the Paphos territories were no, that's right. I guess that's where they probably got yeah, because when the Paphos territory went down, they kind of yeah, there you go, ICW International Championship Wrestling. Had a lot of people from the Knoxville, or I don't know if you remember or ever heard stories about the Knoxville territory war. A lot of those people came from from like Ron Garvin, I think Rip Rogers, Bob Orton Jr. A few of those guys came from the Knoxville territory and helped Papa's territory out, which is I think it was based in Kentucky, but apparently they would have like shoot challenges uh, against the Memphis Stars. And there was a story about Randy Savage and I think Bill Dundee pulled a gun on him or something like that at a gym. Yeah, ICW was the outlaw territory, but it kind of it kind of lasted a while. But once they went out of business, Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo came to work Memphis territory. I imagine that's. I mean that feud with Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler, in Memphis. I mean, I don't know if the that blur between real heat and doing business kind of helped them draw money with the Jared Lawler Randy Savage feud. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically say that. I mean, I think a lot of the people who wrestled the territories and stuff like that would actually associate the I think Honky Tonk Man his shooter review associated the outlaw shows with independence. Oh yeah, I mean Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk. Also, yeah. I mean, Jerry Lawler drew a lot of. I mean, not only made himself a lot of money because he was part of the territory, but I mean, he drew money too. Also, not. I mean, that dude. That's another dude. Just does not get enough credit. I mean, I never did read Hulk Hogan's book, so if any of y'all did, but apparently he did give Austin all the credit of coming up with this and coming up with the because when Austin was around, he called he went he spurred the word Idolmania, and apparently that's where Hulk Hogan got Hulkamania and the whole this thing and oh, absolutely. Anytime he was a match with somebody uh that strap he pulled that strap down and freaking went to town on somebody, it was over. I need to recheck that out. I mean, Jerry Lawler was the AWA Southern Champion how many times? Like 20, 18, 20 times. Also a former AWA World Champion and World Class Wrestling Association uh, World Heavyweight Champion. And at this time, the self-proclaimed living legend, Larry Zbyszko, he was kind of doing the. I don't know he was doing it this far back. I do remember him in '86 when he had the Super Ninja and Ninja Go, and he was had the nunchucks out. Yes, the World Class Wrestling Association champion. Uh, Unify both those belts at what? This is actually a pay per view. What pay per view did Jerry Lawler defeat Kerry Von Erich to win? There you go. I have no prizes to give, but Mr. David Johnson, give yourself a pat on the back. As you can tell, we don't have a lot of um, I don't have a lot of money in this production, so so I don't have no way to give anybody prizes. Here, there you go. Yeah, Larry Zabisco did get pretty good with snow chunks. I guarantee you, if I tried use those nunchucks, I would hit myself in the face about 20 times. Okay, probably not 20 times. least the second or third one would knock myself out. Uh, David Johnson, I'm a huge hey, you're at the right place there then. Uh, Big time '80s wrestling fans here, especially me. Joe King, he's definitely a big time '80s wrestling fan. Like I said, like I said in the beginning, I can tell you the main event of Starrcade '84 and the finish. I can't tell you what I have for breakfast this morning. So we got Tom Zink, Larry Wilson, don't know much about it. Here's another legend, Nick Bockwinkel, Bobby the Brain Hand. There you go. That's probably one of the, if not the best, greatest manager of all time, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh yes, I mean I don't know where you're from, David, but down here in Georgia, we were spoiled as wrestling fans. There was this program on WATL Channel 36 called Superstars of Wrestling, and it was hosted by Joe Penasino. We're talking Mid South, Memphis, World Class, AWA, NWA, Puerto Rico, Continental. Continental's, I mean, like I said, I mean, we've kind of talked about this before where it's kind of hard to say which one of your favorites were, but because it kind of, day would be this one, the next day would be the other one. So Mr. Saito. I'm sorry if Mr. Saito, he's a pretty big, thick dude, and Ken Batera, who was a big dude, and they wanted quarter pounders. How would this? Yeah, here you go, quarter pounders all day long. But yeah, it was like from and plus before that on WTBS channel 36, uh you had wrestling on there at World Championship Wrestling uh from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock unless there was like a Braves game or something like that. By the time it was like so Northeast, you got WWF, World Class, NWA, AWA, and Angel Popo's ICW. Yeah, I kind of really started paying attention to wrestling towards the end of '85. So think I think Savage was already in the WWF, maybe if I remember correctly. Um, but I do remember there was like this one tape where it had Angelo Papa's ICW. Then you had Savoldi's ICW. I was up there for a while. Got his real was it Mario Savoldi? I know he was Jumping Jim Savoldi's dad. Okay, yeah, yeah. We got that down here. It was on it wasn't part of the Superstars Wrestling. I think it came on like late Saturday nights on um WXIA Channel 11. I think it came on after Saturday Night Live or something. Sometimes I would flip through it, or take that back. They'll come on afternoons on Saturdays. I mean, and it wasn't just wrestling; it was good wrestling. I mean, very good wrestling. But then, what was it? Early '90s, where it's still owned by the Savoldis. Yes, Georgia Front beat Colors Cologne. Uh, oh yeah, we got Puerto Rico. We got to see Puerto Rico here too. So yeah, I mean on Saturdays we it was from literally WTBS 17, Jim Crockett, uh, especially around 80, 85 through whatever whenever from 6 to 8 o'clock. You had Jim Crockett. Then from 8 o'clock to like Joe said 3 o'clock in the morning wrestling. So I mean, like I said, we were freaking spoiled. Oh, that is right. I do vaguely remember that. They did that on the ICW. That's right, the ICW program. So I know they had a little bit of deal with Florida Championship Wrestling that brung Kevin Sullivan and Purple Haze, Mark Lewin up there. Um, I remember Joseph Foley teaming up with Al Perez as the New York Rockers. They came out to Van Halen's Jump, and Sheepherders were up there. Uh, this is way. This is Sheepherders became the Bushwhackers, but during that time, Bushwhackers like the most violent tag team in all of wrestling, the most ruthless, dirtiest, most violent tag team. Saito says, "Yeah, Tom Chink, I ain't playing." But did you get any Continental Championship Wrestling while you were up there? If you didn't, I yes, fan- fantastic sheepers. Uh, recommend that. Uh, especially like it was Southeastern Championship Wrestling, owned by the Fullers. Then when they try to make themselves not so regional, they change their name to Continental Championship Wrestling. But yeah, highly recommend that. Some good stuff there. Um, see, that's a strange thing about we didn't get Florida. Uh, I mean, not in Georgia, not no, not especially not part of Superstars Wrestling. Yeah, we didn't get any Florida. Only Florida we got was at the Street About in Wrestling magazines. We didn't get now for a short time. If you had a USA Network, of course at that time, not everybody had cable. Uh, definitely no internet, but yeah. I mean, I didn't watch. I mean, strangely enough, I didn't watch my first full Florida uh, wrestling show until YouTube. I think. No, I think I bought like a. No, that's right, probably YouTube. Uh, like a full program that had again Kevin Sullivan, Purple Haze, uh, uh, Barry Kendall, Wyndham, and Black Jet Mulligan, Dusty Rose, of course. course, I mean, I think the first one I watched was after uh, uh, I think I forgot what year it was. But yeah, like I said, any kind of Florida Championship Wrestling I got to watch, it was from YouTube. Did not get Florida Championship Wrestling when I was a kid. Just kept up with what was going on down there through wrestling magazines. Didn't get Southeast or Southwestern and or which turned around became Texas All Star. Didn't get pulling it either, but sometimes Joe Pensil and Gordon Soley did a kind of like a news program called Pro Wrestling This Week, and that's where we got to see matches here and there from like Portland, uh, Texas All Star. They would report, but they never really showed any matches from Florida. Not that I can remember, but Japan, Puerto Rico, of course. Um, uh, I mean, that's how I knew. Like during that time, Japanese women's wrestling, I think, uh, was big. Oh yeah, would read. I mean, all of them. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Pro Wrestling. Uh, oh yeah, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Wrestler, and Inside Wrestling. Now called the Aftermath. Did not know what a dirt sheet, Wrestling Observer was. I think I vaguely remember being advertised, but didn't order it. Didn't have the funds. Didn't have a job. Nobody would hire a 9, 10 year old. But yeah, like I said, we were definitely spoiled here. Looks like pretty well taken care of up there in oh yeah, we got Mid South UWF. We got to see a lot of that. Mid South had another great territory. But yeah, like I said, you're definitely in the right place if you want to talk some '80s wrestling and I mean I usually I go through the wrestling history and I pretty much go from the '70s to the '90s. Yeah, we had that. I mean, that was like I said, that was a great territory. Had Junkyard Dog at one point, but Dr. Dusty Williams, Ted DiBiase, the Freebirds. I mean, you mentioned four fantastic sheep herders in the barbed wire cage match. I, I had to nice. Yes, sir, he did. Uh, I used to have a lot of uh, theater mags from the '80s, but somebody took them by mistake and didn't give them back when she was moving. Oh yeah, technically they were not the original Midnight Express, Dennis Country and um, Bobby Eaton. It was Dennis Country, Randy Rhoads, and Norville. Ah, man, Tony Allen was freaking jacked back in the day. I mean, he's still jacked, but freaking Tony Atlas here is like freaking jacked and freaking ripped. Right. I think Southeastern as well. If I remember correctly. But Dennis and Bobby were great. Dennis and Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. For some reason, I always, even though they probably always kind of like uh, Eaton and Stan Lane better. I don't know. Even though Eaton Condrey has some cool moves as well. Ooh, that might that might be a wrestling trivia Tuesday question this week if I can remember. And Tony Atlas using a full Nelson as a finisher there. Excuse me. Precious Paul, freaking legend. That's legends right there. Freaking dude jacked up dude. Yeah, it's really hard not to like any of the Midnight Express, especially if you. I mean, even at that time, it was like hard not to like them. I mean, of course, I wasn't uh, a young girl, so uh, but it was kind of hard not to like the rock and rolls. I mean, their match was so freaking awesome. But yeah, that's a fair statement. But yeah, they uh, Eaton and Lang was probably technical better, but comparison, which version of the Horseman was the best? Uh, kind of hard to not like the original version. but technically speaking, I think the version with uh Flair, Arn, Tully, and Barry Windham. I mean, I guess you can say they were probably the best. I mean, that's the only one where all four of them had championship belts. But yeah, even when you kind of go back and watch it now, you can see that it's the Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, Barry Windham combination of the four horsemen was just um, it just fit right. I mean, and I'm a big Holy Anderson fan, but I think at that time it almost kind of showed he wasn't that into it. I guess I mean, he was in the tail end of his career, but yeah, Tully, Arn, Flair, Barry, all just hitting their strides at the right time at the same time. Oh, these poor guys. These poor guys. Um, the one was Luger was pretty good. Oh yeah, but Barry was just a better. I mean, like I said, to me, it was just a better fit with Barry. I mean, Barry, Arn, Tully, Flair. I mean, really just especially Barry hitting his stride right at the same time. Uh, all these poor guys having to wrestle the Road Warriors at this time. Like I said, I think this barely a year, probably at least a full year. I think it was. They've been together and already big money draws uh, and AWA World Tag Team Champions. But yeah, Luger was fine. It's just um, I can't put this. Trying to find the words that kind of describe Luger. I mean, he was basically he was just learning. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember watching like NWA Pro Wrestling and NWA Worldwide, and they Flair and Wyndham had like 1 hour draws. Right. Yeah, it was kind of funny that when Luger first came in, uh, uh, first came into Crockett, uh, his first thing was like, I want to be a horseman, and Barry Windham was like, no, you don't. They're not. That's not cool, buddy. Then Luger became a horseman, and and then like I said, Luger left the four horsemen. Him and Barry became tag team champions, and Barry turned on Luger to be a four horseman. And yes, yeah, I mean, a lot of, I mean, there was like a lot of prepping for Barry or for Lex Luger. Uh, they saw money in Lex Luger. They thought he was going to be uh I guess basically the next Ric Flair. top drawing world champion. Didn't quite turn out that way. That's a freaking power slam. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was kind of gunning for. Yeah, because he had a big body and stuff like that. Definitely not the technical wrestling skills as Ric Flair. But they would actually, I guess, somewhat trying to make a wrestler out of Ric Flair as well, so they can say, "Hey, uh, no, not too good at that." I mean, he can cut a promo, but not no money promo like a Ric Flair or a Dusty or. I mean, I think Jim Cornette in his interview said it best. Flair and Luger drew, Flair and Steen drew, Lex and Steen didn't draw. Uh, why is that? 'Cause, yeah, well, what does Jim Cornette said? Why? How come they didn't draw? Because there was no Flair. Yeah, I mean, all those guys. I think in even in Arn or even like Arn Anderson's um, podcast, he said, Luger tried. It wasn't like he was not listening. He just couldn't. And there was times where he did he tried to be somewhat of a wrestler. I mean, I know. I mean, believe it or not, Luger and Stan Hansen had some couple of decent matches. I mean, brawling matches, but still pretty decent. Oh, there's a couple times I've seen Lex Luger throw drop kicks, but I think once he went to WWF and they were trying to groom him to absolutely be the next Hulk Hogan, just didn't work out. Fans were changing at the time a little bit. Um, fans, believe it, the WWF fans, uh, dug Bret Hart a little bit better, or some might say a lot better. Uh, but yeah, heck, I remember reading the magazines talking about Lex Luger. Next big thing. Uh, he's wrestling here in Florida. Beat Wahoo for the Southern title and all that good stuff. Was already having matches in Florida against Ric Flair. So there was this huge hype about Lex Luger. Uh, yeah, definitely. He definitely was. I mean, there's I mean, I remember when he did turn babyface as like cheered him a little bit. Then it's like, dang, dude. Uh, the posing, which I mean, that's what Hulk Hogan did. But when you're down here, kind of, I mean, especially at that time, he was like, okay, I want to see Hulk Hogan. I'll watch WWF and watch Hulk Hogan. Especially down here in the South. But but of course, that's when they brought in Sting uh, and one of those deals where they thought uh, Sting just took off. Uh, Again, Flair, made Sting, finish that Clash of Champions match, and they thought him and Luger was going to carry the company to great heights. Then Luger decided to leave, and of course at that time I think that was during the time where the old you know steroid and other WWF scandals was happening at that time, and it kind of just affected all wrestling. I mean, uh, again, I'll mention Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette trying to start a new basically a territory, Smoky Mountain, and he, you know, I watched thanks to YouTube, of course, I watched Smoky Mountain, and he had pretty good product, had some good talent, Tracy Smothers, Steve Armstrong, Dirty White Boy, Brian Lee was okay. Because at the time I seen Brian Lee in Memphis and Continental. Uh, um, who was that? Tim Horner, Buddy Landell. Then later on, Chris Candido, stuff like that. So he had talent. It's just uh, wrestling just wasn't that big. Um, Not enough, especially when you paying TV stations to carry your TV product and stuff like that. What a good time, but then at the same time, ECW started taking off, and didn't watch ECW again. Read about it in magazines, but Joe there, he had him and his brother had probably one of the last big salad dishes that anybody ever had, and got to see some ECW that way, and then later on they finally got ECW on Fox Sports South, I believe it was. But yeah, Lex was a better heel. Um, Especially if you watch it now, and I guess your geek eyes and stuff like that. You kind of like, oh yeah, you can tell he's a whole lot more full of himself. So they're definitely the better heel than babyface. Uh, Telemundo. Uh, so you had to watch American wrestling in Spanish. Yeah, let me put the volume down. This one. Oh, so they had it in English, but 1 a.m. Did you ever get to go to any ECW shows? Did you Was that the ECW arena that where you got to see it, or? Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, got to see very lucky got to see uh ECW live here. Got to see the WrestlePalooza. Um, they also did a house show in Marietta. I think they got kicked out of Marietta and had to go to the Gwinnett County Cultural and Civic Center. And this is before they built the Gwinnett Arena slash. It's called Gas South Arena now. Um, I think didn't you and Ricky go to? I went to one. Was it a house show at the Gwinnett Cultural Center, or was it TV taping? I know us three went to like a TV taping for TNT. Oh, nice! I just seen that because at the time I know WWF did do some Omni shows a couple times, um, but they I can't remember them coming to Georgia a lot, if any. I only think Savannah. So I think, especially at that time, I think definitely Jim Crockett and the WWF Vince McMahon was really marking their territory, so to speak. They would have contracts with these arenas and say, you know, we're going to be the only wrestling you have in this arena. Even though they did at the Omni, they did have a show with Deep South Wrestling and UWF, and later on UWF and the NWA. But that was like when Crockett was about to buy Bill Watts out. So yeah, that um, yeah, like I said, in the '80s, like you know, especially the Hulkamania years. I think they did come to. Now didn't now when Flair went to the WWF, didn't the WWF come to the Omni one time and have Flair against Hogan at the Omni? Yeah, I think yeah. Uh, yeah, Baltimore was definitely a NWA territory, but I think they did go to Philadelphia a few times as well. Oh, okay, there we go. So yeah, that was probably like one of very few times. I don't think they, because I do remember them saying they were going to be at the Omni, but uh, yeah, it's definitely late '80s. Oh, nice. I wonder how that they drew in the Omni night that night. I mean, obviously not too well if they didn't come back, but I almost distinctly remember maybe Flair and Hogan had a match at the Omni, under the WWF banner. could be wrong. Yes, I remember when Tully and Arn got the tag titles to the Midnight Express. Then left, and to me that was, kind of really weird to see Tully and Arn in the WWF. Yeah, it, it, it would definitely need a Google search. Speaking of Google, I can use the Google here. Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see. So WWF House Show, October 23rd, 1988. Let's see. Don't, they don't show the house crew yet, but on that night we had. Okay, it's probably not the same night. That is right. Because yeah, not long after Tully and Arn left, Barry left, went back up there, came the Widowmaker. Um, so the Blue Blazer defeated Steve Lombardi. Fabulous Rougeos defeated Heart Foundation, Honky Tonk Man, and Ultimate Warrior fell to a double countout. Hercules defeated King Haku. Hulk Hogan defeated Andre the Giant by DQ. And the Barbarian defeated Boris Zukov. Bad News Brown defeated Coco Beware. And Jake Roberts defeated Rick Rude. Let's see what this article takes us. But taking a sweet time to pull up. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I guess uh, the back injury kind of sidelined Rick Rude from being a WCW World Champion as well, because it looked like they were kind of really pushing him to that. He was already the United States champion. I mean, he did win the NWA World Title, which again at that time didn't mean nothing. Then the WCW pulled out again of the NWA or canceled a little partnership with them, and it became the WCW International World Title. Hmm. I'll look into that more. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, at that time they see that's the thing about WWF too is it was mostly a babyface territory, um, but still not. I guess Hogan did. You know, I guess when the I guess the opportunity came up to go, hey, hey Hogan, you want to put Rick Rude over? Not gonna work for me, brother. Um, or Vince just didn't see Rick Rude as a champion. I mean, I mean, a lot of people. Even though, yeah, Kurt Hennig was an AWA World Champion. Um, maybe if he went to the NWA, Kurt Hennig would have been a world champion. Besides just AWA. I mean, technically speaking, Rick Rude was also a world class wrestling association or world class world heavyweight champion, or whatever that matters. Because wasn't last week we kind of discussed about this? Yeah, we was talking about Black Bart because he was a world class world champion. Um, but yeah, yeah, at the time Rick Rude was when the world class pulled out of the NWA, Rick Rude was the America's champion, and they kind of switched the name of that to America's champion. Uh, yes, yes, that's what we because he was the America's champion, and they just declared him the world champion. And Chris Adams defeated him. Then Chris Adams got drunk on a plane and uh, lost the world title to Black Bart. May he rest. May them both. May they both. All three of them. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, when he came to WCW, I mean, they went ahead and gave him, their first thing, I guess second match out or high profile match, I guess. He defeated Sting for the U.S. title, and it seemed like he would be that perfect heel world champion, and of course WCW at that time was. I mean, we didn't know it as fans at the time, but man, they were screwed up. Um, but they went with Vader. I mean, nothing against Vader. Uh, Big Van Vader. He was a big dude. He was, you know, scary dude. Yeah, yeah, 92. Was it 92 or 93 where he got that back injury and had to retire? But yeah, either way, I mean, him and Sting would have had way better matches than Sting and Vader. Yeah, Vader was freaking awesome. But see, you could have, you know, always set Vader up as, kind of he didn't really need to be world champion. You could always set him up being an attraction. It's just, yeah, most definitely. You see a guy that big do a moonsault. What's that cool headgear? Remember when I first seen him, he came out with that headgear. It's like, hey, I want one of those. But I will say the best. I mean, yes, he had a pretty good feud with Sting and all that, but I would say the best feud with Vader has to be with Cat. That was it. because good brawler versus good brawler and stuff like that. And I mean, good storyline. The whole I guess temporary amnesia thing. They kind of put some effort into that feud. Did a little vignette where he was. Oh, that's another dude, man. Bam Bam Bigelow. He was freaking awesome. Remember him when he first came to Memphis? And, I mean, again, at that time, I didn't see older assassin matches. I seen some of Jerry Blackwell's matches where he would throw a drop kick, but Bam Bam, he was throwing drop kicks and doing cartwheels. Later on, did a moonsault, and then I finally settled down a little bit. Yes, I do remember that. Just trying to do a Russian gimmick with Bam Bam Bigelow, but uh, at that time he had done been in the magazines, and everybody knew him as Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't think he was there that long either, was he? Because he had matches with Lance Von Erich. I do remember that. Or as he was known in Wild West Wrestling, the Fabulous Lance, because he got fired from being a Von Erich, which of course we didn't. I guess we knew, but I think Gary did like a promo where yeah, this Lance Von Erich, he's a fraud. He lied to us, lied to everybody, yada yada yada. The hell, we're here, talking about hell. Uh, where should we venture off next week? Should we do some Memphis World Class, or what's one other one I was thinking about? Or yeah, UWF. I'd love to see. I might be able to find it. I don't know that full episode that has the what call it, Fantastics and Sheepers and the well, actually, yeah, it wasn't just the Fantastics and Sheepers. It was Fantastics and Terry Taylor versus Sheepers and Jack Victory and the big. Is that right? It was a 6 man out. Just had it in that big barbed wire cage match in UWF. Yeah, it did slip my mind. It did slip Terry Taylor in there because he is a fantastic one. Well, fellas, it's getting about that time for me. Tummy's growling. Uh, uh, but yeah, appreciate you, David, you, Joe, and everybody else who watched along and joined me in the chat. Next week we're definitely going to be doing this again. Oh yeah, that thing was um yeah, because I remember watching the time, and heck, it almost covered heck, it what it went from like a Man MTK's chest to his waist, wasn't it? Thing was huge. And of course, NWA, they had their big gold belt. And yes, the 80s, not only was the wrestling good, they had the best. Some of the championship belts you see nowadays, okay, but something about those that were just, you knew what they were. But anyway, like I said, I'm probably going to call it a night here. But definitely show back up here next week. Check out my rest of my other content. Uh, let's see. Like I said, I don't know what program we might do next week. Usually, I just think of something just like that when I'm not really. Like I said, I just wing it here. Anyway, like I said, appreciate everybody tuning in, checking out the chat. Like I said, remember, uh, if you're not didn't watch this live, hit me up in the comments. Also, click that like button and be a champ and hit that subscribe button. With all that being said, y'all have a good one. Take it easy, and until next time.
So long from the peach state of Georgia.
Thank you for checking out our P2 Vision. Subscribe to our P2 Vision to watch Ronald Ray's content that covers the sport of professional wrestling from yesterday to today. His weekly content starts off with Wrestling Trivia Tuesday. Every Tuesday, Ronald Ray asks 5 questions about the sport of professional wrestling. So tune in and have some fun. Then it's WWE Monday Night Raw recaps, where he recaps all the action from the Raw brand. Ronald Ray also does an AEW Dynamite recap show where he recaps and has fun doing it. Do you like live streams? Well, join Ronald Ray live on Spot Show Livestream, where he discusses current wrestling. Join the chat and have fun. Spot Show Livestream is on Thursday nights starting at 8 p.m. If current pro wrestling isn't your thing, like all wrestling past and present, or you're a new fan and want to hear how things were back in the day, then tune in to Wrestling Gold Friday night, where Ronald Ray discusses back in the day when wrestling was wrestling, featuring watch-alongs. That's Wrestling Gold Friday night on Fridays starting at 8 p.m.